ask you a question. What if you have a great big idea and you're very excited about it, but you don't know what to do with it? You don't know what kind of product to create, you don't know what kind of service to create, and more importantly, you don't know if there's anyone out there that will actually buy it. What do you do at that point? And I know a lot of you are at that point, and I've actually been there myself many times. So I come up with this great idea. Ideas definitely are not my weakness. I come up with ideas all the time. And the first thing I do when I come up with an idea is I sit back and I start the planning process, and I see all these grandiose things that could potentially come from that big idea. In one case, a few years ago, I came up with a great idea in which I could actually take my knowledge and go out and actually go into the school systems and teach parents and kids how to be more safe when connecting and when using things like MySpace and Facebook. Again, this was quite a few years ago when MySpace was even more popular than Facebook. But part of the problem back then is I saw a lot of parents simply did not know what to do. Their kids were literally hanging out in the Wild West, getting into all kinds of trouble, and parents didn't know how to react to that. So I saw this great big opportunity, this huge idea that could come forward, and I could take that and I could run with it and create a whole new business model with it. So I actually did just that. I sat back and I started creating all these ideas. I started outlining books. I actually started looking for domain names. I started putting together website ideas. I even started outlining books and some membership sites, things like that. I had all these great ideas in place. But the problem is I didn't know if my audience would actually buy it. And more importantly, I lost focus of what I was truly doing and the direction I was going. Up until that point, I had always been out in the business-to-business realm. I'd always been coaching and working with other business owners, helping them build stronger businesses, helping them understand the small business marketing, understand how to get online and to succeed online. This was a whole different arena for me. I'd never been in the education system before. I'd never been in schools. I'd never done any of that before. And here I was outlining this huge idea for it. Two problems with that. First is if you lose your focus and you lose your train of thought, you actually lose the potential of what you had originally designed in the first place. And number two, when you start out on an entirely new area, you don't even know if you have a market share for that. Now, if you're just starting with your big idea, you might be in a similar circumstance. You might not know if your big idea has any potential whatsoever, and that's fine. But there are so many ideas out there that do have potential. Sometimes it just takes tweaking. So first you need to ask yourself, is this really what I want to do? Is this really what I want to move forward with? Is this how I can see myself in the future and in months and even years to come? And if that's the case, then you need to take the next step, which is to see if you actually have a market share out there. In my case, what I ended up doing is I ended up going to my local school systems. I had an in. Obviously, I had a daughter in the school systems, so I could use that as my in. And I approached all the different parent associations out there and asked if they wanted me to come to the meeting and talk about social media security. And as luck would have it, I got into a whole bunch of them, and I started the process of going out and actually speaking to all these organizations. And what I found out very quickly is that it was going to be a lot of work, because first I had to educate my clientele that they even had a need, that they even needed this particular service, because way back then it was a very closed atmosphere, and I just don't want to be on it. I don't understand it, and I'm going to block my child, especially the smaller they were. So I would have had to have built up this entire market just to help them understand the process. And I quickly discovered that it was a lot more work in a direction that I really didn't want to go to. By the time I had gone out and actually spoken with my audience, spoken with a couple hundred different people, and actually took the time to get to know them and what their needs are, what their requirements are, what they were actually thinking, again, I discovered it pulled me away from my ultimate purpose of what I wanted to do in this life. So with that, I could modify and I could shut down certain areas and move into different areas that I truly wanted to do. That's what I recommend for you as well. Go out there and talk to people. There's a lot of people in your community that are willing to listen to what you have to offer. You just need to go out and ask. If you've never been to Meetup before, I suggest you go to meetup.com. They have literally groups on everything. And if you can't find something that fits within your needs, you can even set up groups. It's that easy. It's really easy to do. Go out, meet with some of these people. If you're speaking to women, there's a ton of women's groups out there. Just go. And even if you don't have a full idea, you can put together little business cards on your printer for virtually nothing, just the cost of paper and ink. Print up something, Just go out and get some ideas. Find out if there's any interest whatsoever in what you have to offer. And maybe even ask a few questions like, what would you want in this arena? If I were to, offer coaching, what would you look for in this area? If I were to write a book, what kind of book would you read? What kind of information would you be interested in? Just little questions like that within your local community can truly define what your big idea is and how you move forward with that. So first thing is make sure you always stay focused on what you truly want to do. And second off, get out there and start communicating. Start working in your community and find out what people are truly interested in. Build up that list, and that's going to make your process much easier down the road. Good luck!